You ever wonder what makes a great gamer? Great gaming is not only about cheering on our teammates, but also being there to pick us up when we're down.
Guardian down!
Have you ever played Destiny with a fellow Guardian and thought to yourself, I wonder what their life is like? Questions like these spark conversation, friendship, and community. We're a Destiny 2 podcast that focuses on three things: community, news around the gaming industry and Destiny 2, and thought-provoking topics in the game. We're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. What's up, Guardian? Welcome to episode 292 of Guardian Downcast. I'm your host, ToddtheGatr, and I'm a Day One Guardian who loves gaming, and especially the Destiny franchise. We're the podcast that's all about your stories, your community, and your destiny. This week, my co-host, Kingsleymac, will be with me again. How are you, sir, tonight?
Doing great. Glad to be here. Hopefully. And I am with you again tonight.
Thank you. I'm gonna lose it if I can't complete full sentences tonight. For those of you who may have just discovered our podcast, we're a weekly gaming show with an emphasis on the Destiny franchise. And we like to sprinkle in some entertainment and other topics of discussion relating to our hobbies from time to time as well. But we have been producing audio episodes for nearly 6 years now. And as the game has evolved, we've evolved as well. So now we produce a live version of our show on YouTube and in our Discord stage channel. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, where you can interact with us live in the chat. Kingsley keeps an eye on the Discord chat, and I keep an eye on the YouTube chat. And just a reminder that we do have our shows every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, God's time. We'll also have a replay of tonight's show on my YouTube channel. And of course, the audio version is always available for our podcast apps and listeners out there. Or you can go and listen to our show on a browser. Just go to our website. It's guardiandowncast.com. You can search for any individual episode as well and listen whenever you like. It's really nice. In this episode, we start with our usual weekly catch-up. And next, Kingsleymac and I will share yet another build that seems to be really, really hot this episode. A lot of content creators have mentioned this build this week. We'll go over This Week in Destiny from Bungie with any important information. I will also share my Trials of Osiris experience this past week, and I have to say, it was not what I was expecting. Also, we have some questions from our community that we'll answer in the chat. If you have any input and questions you want to address to me and Kingsley live, you can do so in the chat. Just make sure you at us so we can see it in the chat. And we'll try to share them live on the show tonight. It's a pretty chill show this week from a balmy 52-degree Florida night here in Central Florida. So if everyone's ready, let's roll.
Hey, Maximo here, one of the other Todds. You're listening to the Guardian Downcast, home of the coolest Discord group on the frickin' planet. Word.
All right, this week, what have we been doing, Kingsley? What have we been up to in Destiny this week? I have a feeling we have done very different things in Destiny this week because I have a feeling I know where you've been. But what have you been up to this week, man? What's going on in Destiny or in life or entertainment, whatever you want to talk about?
Well, first with other stuff, I'll do car first, then TV, then Destiny later, I guess. Just silly. Like I'm excited for my wife, but she got a new car this last week. Been on the books for a while. We love Subaru Crosstreks. We both had one. They were kind of matching in a way. Mine was like a dark gray, and hers was a black. And she was up for getting a new one. She didn't have to, but based on some things with some good interest rate promotion thing that was going on right now. And her car registration was up. Here's another thing. In Utah, a lot of states don't do this, but in Utah, you can't get money back if you sell a car. So if you just registered your car and you bought a new car, you have to register the new car, the same amount of money, plus whoever the car gets sold to, they have to register it too. So like Utah triple dips on car registration.
So you can't transfer the tag if it's active onto your new car? You have to do it all over again?
You have to get a whole new registration.
Wow.
And you can't get a prorated amount for the previous car but actually the funny thing is they're changing that law. We found that out the week after we got this new car. And that wasn't the only reason we were getting it, but she was excited.
Yeah.
Some things going on. And she upgraded to a 2025 red Subaru Crosstrek that is gorgeous.
They look good.
I'll post a picture of it in the Discord chat.
Yeah, it looked really nice.
And it's a really pretty red. I know probably people don't care, whatever, but
it's a nice, pretty red. I saw it. It's a really bright red. It's really nice.
It looks bright there, but it has shades of pink and orange too. So depending on how dark it is or bright it is, it looks really beautiful, kind of in all shades. But it has like the really huge, like 11-inch infotainment screen now. We had the Apple CarPlay before, but just on a smaller screen with like a huge screen and everything. But I don't know, just things were good for us. Her car loan didn't go up at all from before. Nice. You know, we have good credit and they had some good rates going on and stuff. So was happy to do that.
Yeah.
And so we're at the dealership and I know a lot of the people over there. I've dealt with them for a long time and they threw us some, I'm just wearing my Subaru swag hat I just got the other day.
Now, hold on a sec. Guys, does he look like Fluffy tonight? He looks just like Fluffy tonight with that flat brim hat.
Because of the flat brim
It could be the flat brim hat. It could be. But you look like an OG tonight, man. I look good.
Yeah. Yep. And then I think she got a bunch of 5-day ski lift tickets for Snowbird, which is a good ski resort over here because Subaru is really big with like they promote Snowbird and different ski resorts around here and stuff. So
nice.
Anyways, that was fun. And, except for the financing part, like, even though we had it locked down, and I talked to Sin about this ahead of time too, like, the sales guys were actually great. Like, I knew the right way to play it. The car was already discounted too, because actually, believe it or not, January was a way down month for car sales, even more than normal. And this red Subaru had been sitting in the lot for 27 days, which is unheard of. Subaru Crosstreks usually sell like hotcakes. Like, you can't get them fast enough. Sometimes you have to wait for them. And so the car was discounted. The sales guys, you know, they gave us full value for trade-in and everything like that. It was good. But then we get to finance, and the guy is like, "Oh, this is only my third day here." I'm like, "Oh, great." He's like, "I'll try to go fast." And I said, "Well, go as fast as you want.
Don't make any
I can
mistakes,
tell you right
dude."
now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I meant to say was like, I'll tell you, like, we're as good to go as fast as you can. In fact, I can tell you up front, like, sorry, but we're not going to be buying any of the extra add-ons. We never do the extended warranties and things like that.
I don't do that anymore.
And I knew he'd be sad because, you know, of course, they make their more money if you do that.
Yeah.
But he's like, well, I have to read through it all anyways. It's the company policy. I'm like, okay, well, again, the faster you can go through it, you'll save your time, you'll save our time.
I can see
Kingsley, like reading the thing.
I can see Kingsley like, and we have this offer and no. Next.
Yeah. Well,
no.
Yeah, we have to keep saying no. We have to keep saying no. Me and my wife are kind of like frustrated with that part. Yeah. And they record it now too. They have a video camera in there, mostly to make sure if there's any, it's to protect the customer and to like if
lawsuits.
I guess there is some complaints where if things weren't filled out correctly and it was the employee's fault. So they're really just bugging the people that work there. But it was funny, like when the guy's reading that, I'm like, no. And I actually turned to the camera and I'd be like, so guys, you watching this after the fact, it'd be nice if you didn't have to read as long of a spiel.
Yes. In case this is used as a training video down the road, you know?
Yeah.
I know what he's not telling you guys is he had an earpiece in with Sin talking to him and Sin was listening on the conversation. And since Sin is a dealer manager, he's probably like, no, don't do that. No, ask him this. Don't ask him that. Dude, ask him this.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of an ace in all
finance
there.
Guys for sure, because it's like they just try to upsell you the gap insurance and the car extended warranties. For some people, it's great, but not for us. And you don't generally want to roll that into financing. I mean, I get it. It's We just don't get extended warranties anyways. But if you did, you could save a lot of money just doing it a different way. But anyways, I digress.
I get you.
Yeah. And then I wanted to talk about, I saw the SNL 50th anniversary special, and I loved it.
That was great, wasn't it? That's why I was wearing
You
the
watched
shirt
it,
tonight.
okay.
I got this for,
Yeah.
I don't remember, Christmas maybe, I think. And I was like, I got to wear this tonight. What do you think, man? I thought it was done really tastefully.
Yeah, I want to know. Because I wrote something in the TV channel about it, but you didn't respond to me yet. But
No.
I didn't tag you, though. But I loved it. The only thing I didn't really love is most of the musical acts were either slow or too long. Except for Adam Sandler. Yeah. I loved the Adam Sandler one.
That was very...
Wasn't that good?
He almost brought me to a tear when he talked about...
Yeah, it was good. He did an original song.
Yep.
It was kind of an homage to everything, and he brought his energy with it. It was like funny, energetic, but also emotional at the same time. It was like the perfect song to do.
Did have you seen I Love You, his latest special on Netflix?
I haven't seen it.
It's the best one he's ever done. You got to see it. I was just talking to my wife. I said, you didn't see his latest? You notice he had a keyboardist with him that was accompanying him?
Yep.
He's the same keyboardist that accompanies him the entire, his entire last comedy show. And it's in a club. It's all dark. And it's really funny because there's supposed to have monitors up, a real visual effect and stuff, and nothing was working. And I think it was all planned. I think it was all staged that way, but it didn't feel like it was staged. You got to see it. It's called I Love You, I think, or Love You on Netflix. Okay. It's his latest, and it's nothing like this is not the Adam Sandler that you're used to hearing. He's not the wacky guy. He's actually serious adult comedy, not the wacky slapstick stuff that he usually does. So yeah. I'll see the card in the chat.
I forgot to hit return on the.
Yeah, it looks good.
The picture. Car pictures are now in the chat.
I love the color. I love the color.
Yeah, but all the skits and everything I thought was really, really good. They brought back a lot of old ones and redone. They had some new ones, and all in all, it was really good. I think I'd give it like an 8.5 out of 10.
Debbie Downer, probably one of my favorites. I was laughing my ass off the entire time. She did a great job. And
Debbie Downer, of course.
Yeah, and of course you had Robert De Niro stepping in for that. I thought they did a great job on that. It was a little fake on the choking, but I was like, you know what? It's a comedy show. But no, you know what? Here's what surprised me, though. And there must be something that we don't know about here. I swear to God, I kept telling my wife at the end of it's 3 hours long, by the way, so we watched it in 2 parts.
It was long.
I said, I guarantee you Chevy Chase is going to close out the show because he's the very first person who started Saturday Night Live. It was going to be a nice bookend, right? Never saw him. The whole night, never saw him. And of course, Bill Hader wasn't there. And of course, Mr. Dan Aykroyd wasn't there. And I imagine that's probably because of health reasons. But, man,
Bill Hader, it was just scheduling for him.
Yeah.
He had a long-standing thing that he couldn't make it for.
Yeah, he's a busy guy right now.
I've heard, haven't you heard this before? But I've heard no one likes Chevy Chase. He's really difficult to work with.
He's always been a jerk. That's what I've always heard too. And but
maybe they didn't want him.
There he
was.
Maybe
they're like, well, you got to show up, but we don't really have a skit for you. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, I'm sure. I mean, can you imagine the competition to get everybody's skit in that show? And it was 3 hours long. It's like 2 Saturday Night Lives back to back. I thought they did a great job. It was tastefully done. And, I mean, every part of it was great. Even, Paul McCartney finishing out the show was good. He doesn't quite have the range he used to, but, it was still nice. It was sentimental to hear him, you know, but, I
guess I thought that song was a little long, like, especially the riffing in the middle. I'm like, let's go on, but
it was like a medley. Yeah. And, but no, great. I'm glad you mentioned that because I didn't have that in my notes.
It was really good.
We watched it in 2 parts and we haven't watched the 3-hour tribute concert. We've got it still on Peacock. We can watch it anytime, but I still want to watch that. It's all the bands that played on Saturday Night Live, or most of them. It's like a reunion concert where everybody plays a set. So it was pretty good. It's 3 hours too, but I just haven't had time to get to it yet. But I've heard good things about it. MJT2. I think Chevy Chase came out. Yeah, he did come out at the end, and they mentioned him as one of the OGs.
No skits.
But he was in none of the skit. I could have sworn that would have been the perfect cherry on top was, you know, Chevy Chase doing just some classic skit or something. And I saw him in the audience at the end, you know, like MJT2 said. I said, but he just didn't do anything. I was like, man, he's an icon of Saturday Night Live. And I mean, it really started his whole career. He was a nobody when he first started Saturday Night Live. I mean, all these people were nobodies. And yeah, I agree, JD Kemp. Eddie Murphy was good. He played several parts. I think he stole the show when it came to doing what impression did he do? It was Black Jeopardy, right? I think it was Black Jeopardy.
He did Black Jeopardy, and
but he was doing an impression of
what's his name? The guy that was next to him.
Next to him.
Yeah. What's his?
Oh, I'm gonna make you pregnant.
Yeah, but also he was hilarious in the prison skit too.
Yes.
Eddie Murphy.
God,
yeah, that was good.
It was really good. If you guys haven't seen it, it's on Peacock. If you have, I mean, right now, just let you know, if you're not a Peacock, I don't get anything for this. I'm not sponsored. Peacock has a whole year for $30 right now. And I'll tell you what, there's some class movies on there. There's a ton of good stuff on there. I'm addicted to, I was going to mention it, but I'll say it now. Their big game show that they have on there called Traders. It is with Alan Cumming. It is so good. It is so good that I actually started watching the UK version, the New Zealand version. And the one thing I noticed with the UK version versus the American version, you know how they always take a commercial break and they come back and they have to replay like the last 30 seconds because we already forgot what happened. In the UK version, it's just like they spliced the tape and it went right on to the next part of the scene. I noticed that's one thing I noticed differently with the UK version is they don't, maybe we just have a fishbowl brain or whatever, but they always, I always hated that when you get back from a commercial break or when you're watching it without commercial breaks, that they have to play that last 30 seconds back because for some reason we just forgot about it over the commercial break. But that's the one difference I did see. But Peacock, $30 a year if you've never been a member, $30 a year, you can't beat that, man. It's like I pay like $10 a month, I think, right now. I tried to do it because I'm already a member. It was only for new members, but you could watch all the Saturday Night Live stuff, the concerts, the documentary. Have you seen the documentary, Kingsley, on Saturday Night Live?
No, and I do need to go back and watch that. I know it'll be good.
It's very good. It's a 4-part one, and it's on 4 different abstract things. My favorite is the writer's room. They talk about what goes on every week in the writer's room. That was outstanding. I mean, I have a newfound respect for writers that do these comedy shows live, so I'm sorry. What else you been up to? You had to mention, I had to jump in.
That's it. That's it I want to talk about other than Destiny, so we can get into Destiny now if you want, or at least for what I did.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Dive into Destiny, man. I'll tell you what I did. My turn will be next.
So, started off with the week 3 story. Little disappointed again how short it was. I don't feel like they needed to time gate that for 3 weeks because I had the impression when they first told us in the TWID that they said the majority of stuff's coming out at the beginning. When you talk about the activity in Nether, yes, that was true. Mm-hmm. But they said the main thing would be like week to week, better versions of weapons or catalysts or things like that. But, whatever, they did put some story in week 2 and week 3, and it was pretty short to me, so whatever. But I also I'm not going to spoil anything in the little thing that happens at the end, but one thing I do want to mention right now too, since we're talking about this, is it's a little sad this episode. I've been meaning to say this for a couple weeks now, and we knew this was coming, but the story is great, but it really just kind of doesn't have the same emotional punch when it's missing voice lines. And we knew that was happening. They said they couldn't record everyone because of scheduling and a writer strike and some other things going on. But you're here watching this cool scene between 3 people, and one of the people, you don't hear any voice lines. And I know people that can't hear great anyways are like, well, I always read the things. But but if you're listening at all, it's really jarring when only part of it's there and not all. So it's like, I don't know what they could have done. Nothing, I guess, because they didn't. But it's a little sad because that really takes a little bit of the emotion out of it when it's missing like so many voice lines.
I've heard a lot of people say, hey, I don't even know what the story's about because there's so much missing. And now, are you still getting the subtitles when you're in the middle of space, when you're hovering in, last week I was getting all, I'm like, what is going on here? Is this a bug? It must be a bug because I have no clue what the context of any of this is.
Well, yeah, it's a partial bug, but it's also, I think, because there's so many things that are coming through the closed captioning now that maybe it's just like backtracked and then eventually comes, where we would normally hearing those voice lines. But it's a little crazy there. But I did that. I ran the exotic mission again with actually Tajo. He's in the chat. And who else did we have? We had
Zombie Pops.
McMaximo, actually. McMaximo was running it earlier in the day. I was going to join up. And that was yesterday or the day before when there was a bunch of errors where some people couldn't log in, and they fixed it eventually.
Now I heard they disabled one of the prismatic fragments because it was creating errors.
That's a different error. That's not this error yesterday, but yes,
right.
That was an error that was just happening to some people, and I think it was like a beacon error or something. But Centipede error was the bigger issue yesterday, a separate issue. And it caused it where a lot of people couldn't log in. And then they finally fixed it. And then I got in and was able to run the exotic mission again. And that was fun.
Yeah.
But the last thing, funny enough, and I told you I would probably do it this time.
No way.
I popped in some Iron Banner.
All right. There was a little shit talk in the Discord that you played more Iron Banner than me, possibly. And you might be right.
I think I have.
How much Iron Banner have you done so far? I played one night. I played, well, I guess I'll go into it. I played
approximately how many matches? You don't have to know exactly, but
no, I'm here. I got the game up. I'll just tell you where I'm at.
Or how many hours, I guess.
oh, I mean, I've played this week. I played maybe 3 hours of
Iron Banner.
3 hours this week.
How much?
Week. About 3 to 4 hours. Okay. 3 to 4 hours, I think. I popped on Tuesday night reset, and what I did is I went to the. I'm going to my map section here. I went to the. Iron Banner now they have two different playlists, and they're very different. I don't know if people know this, but if you go to Iron Banner Control, it is skill-based match made. And if you go to Iron Banner Eruption, which is the more casual playlist, it is open skill, which means you play anybody. You can play anybody. You'll get stomped. You'll stomp people.
Yeah, hopefully people know we've talked about it on the podcast.
Well, just reiterating, because I had to sit here and read it as well, because it does have outlier protection, which means it's skill-based match made, at least to some degree. Mm-hmm. But I didn't play on the control, oddly enough. I wanted to see I like Eruption. I wanted to play in the Eruption playlist, and I'm 1037 on my rank. I'm not at the tower, so I can't tell you where I'm at as far as Saladin, but I think I've got like 8 or 9 Ingrams, and I unlocked. Yeah, you mentioned the new trace rifle. I have 2 of them.
Okay, so you're taking the wind out of it. Let me
no,
do something here real quick.
Go ahead.
You won as far as hours for sure.
Okay.
I didn't play that much time, but I did play on 2 separate nights, probably about somewhere between an hour and 2 hours. And it's so unheard of for me. And the reason I wanted to go in was for this weapon.
Yeah.
And I was talking, and I do want to hear what roles you have before I tell you my roles. But this weapon got me in this season. I really like arc trace rifles for multiple reasons. And this one has some good rolls. And believe it or not, I've had pretty good luck RNG, because I've only had like maybe 2 or 3 of them drop naturally, and then I've done maybe 4-ish Ingrams, and I already have the second best god roll.
Really?
So at least for PvE, for what I want.
Okay.
Everyone's god rolls may be a little bit different. We can talk about that here in a second. But I was talking with Tajo and some other people. I think some people had dropped 30 Ingrams and they don't have their god roll yet. But I don't know. I just did regular Iron Banner. I like skill-based matchmaking. It was pleasant enough. I still have my same thoughts about Crucible. I get bored how small these maps are and just running around doing the same old thing, just shooting people. It's boring to me. But I got it done, and I got some weapons, and I might even hop in a little bit more before the week is done to see if I can get my number 1 god roll. Now, what do you like about this weapon, or what rolls do you have or want?
I don't. Here, I'll just.
Or maybe you don't care about this weapon as much as me.
Well, I'll just share my screen here. I got the first one I got was a drop, and it was jolting, feedback, and loose change, enhanced battery, extended barrel.
Oh, pretty good.
It's not bad.
Jolting feedback's good. And
then, of course, the one they give you in the track is detonator beam, which I don't know much about. Envious assassin, so particle repeater. I'm amazed. A 100 aim assist on this damn thing. That's amazing, man. I don't think I've ever seen a trace rifle with that much aim assistance. And this one, this second one, the Warlord Spear I have here, is 96 stability. I mean, and a perfect 100 recoil. And my other one, I think, is, let me see. Yeah, it's perfect.
Well, Cold Heart has 90 stability when you have the catalyst for it.
Right. Okay.
But so pretty close.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the two rolls I have. I have the one that came in the track, and I think that's fixed. And then I have I don't know what detonator beam does, but then I got the one with jolting feedback, which I said, oh, it's an arc meta right now. I'm going to hang on to that one. So yeah.
Sorry, Cold Heart also has 100 aim assist and better actual stability than this weapon.
Okay.
So this weapon's still good, but Cold Heart is even more stable than this.
And Cold Heart, correct me if I'm wrong here, when you get multiple kills or a kill with it, doesn't it throw a trace back at you?
Oh, yeah. And I'll be talking some about that later.
Yeah. We got to build. We got to share with you guys tonight. Yep.
I wanted something that was similar to Cold Heart, a legendary version. So if I don't want to take an exotic slot, I kind of think of this as like a Cold Heart Light. It's not exactly, but if you get it with jolting feedback, then it kind of is a Cold Heart Light.
I don't know what loose change is going to do exactly, but
well, what you want for PvE is rewind rounds and jolting feedback or detonator beam.
Okay.
And I got the rewind rounds detonator beam, but I want jolting feedback for the second perk on that.
It's a strange looking trace rifle. It is very large trace rifle. But
I don't love the Iron Banner emblem on it for being a PvE version, but whatever.
I'm looking at
that much.
Okay, so rewind rounds and jolting feedback. Okay, so
it's a good roll if you can get that.
Okay, I'll keep trying. I'll probably focus on Ingram's for because I've got all the other stuff. Now? Let me ask you: did you get Tenacious Mastery? Did you get some more of those?
So no, I didn't care as much about that weapon the last time, and so nice. I don't have any of those because I haven't hopped in Iron Banner for probably months or years. But if I get my number one God roll, and if I still have some Ingrams left over, I guess I'll pop some into Tenacious Mastery.
Let me see what I have in Tenacious. I've got 4 Tenacious. I have one with Chill Clip Air Trigger. I have one with One for All Reverberation. I have one with Bait and Switch, Impulse Amplifier. And then finally I have one with Chill Clip and Deconstruct. I don't know how strong Deconstruct is these days. I know they buffed it, but I'll have to just look it over. Man, I got so many sidearms. But I would just say if you said you got a really good roll, you're pretty close to what you want as far as the trace rifle, then definitely focus everything else toward the Tenacious Mastery. And I believe it's in the track, I think. Anyway, you want to get the emblem too. The emblem's
maybe in the track, but of course you can put the Ingrams to get it. Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I tell you what, Iron Banner was a lot of fun. I did the open skill one because I just wanted to see, because I've always played Control. And, I figure, this weekend I might get with some of the community and play some Iron Banner, just, open. I'll just go to Gators Hangout. Anybody wants to join and play can just play and just see how it goes in the skill-based matchmaking. Because supposedly the team-based matchmaking's been improved, and I'd like to see if it does work, because we have a very despairing, a great disparity in skill levels in a typical, fire team of just casual players one night, so.
Well, you should have hopped in it, especially if you wanted to see what it was like. You haven't even hopped in it once to see what it was like.
I was going to, and I just ran out of time. Man, it has been crazy busy work-wise. I'm playing catch-up, in fact, because we had 2 weeks of really crappy cold weather, and now I'm 2 weeks behind. So now I'm 1 week behind. But now I did want to mention, I didn't want to cut you off. So that's what you got out of.
Are you proud of me? I've done Iron Banner.
I had a little warm spot. When I heard that you actually played it.
I don't like it any better. Sorry.
It's PvP. It's not for everybody, but I tell you, I played those 3.5 hours without any sound. I was watching videos while I played, and I did the same thing in Trials. And I gotta share my experience with Trials this week, because they say they're revamping Trials, and you go, yeah. They want to make it more like Iron Banner. Yeah. I know you've said that before, but the real surprise for me this past week was the first week of the newly revamped Trials of Osiris. And I must admit, I was a little intimidated. I didn't really know what to expect. I have to tell you that there were I have to tell everybody that there's 2 different passages if you decide to play Trials of Osiris that you can choose from. The first is called just the Trials of Osiris passage, which supposedly is a casual base, like pool of players to choose from. I was going to try out this passage, but I realized that 7 wins would not get you to the lighthouse. It just gives you a pinnacle reward. So I went ahead and canceled that pass, and I went ahead and got the other pass, which is called the Lighthouse passage. And all you have to do is win 7 matches, period. And I was curious. I was like, okay, 7 wins, and what I love about, this is the biggest change that I love about Trials. They got rid of card-based matchmaking, because the first 4 games I won 4 straight, and I played solo, no sound. And I would say 3 out of those 4 games, I joined a pair. I joined 2 guys that were already together in a team. And what I did is I stuck with them. When I saw a chance where I could go around and flank and maybe push the enemy into them and confuse them a little bit, I would, but I had a lot of success playing solo. I tell you, one of more of my sweaty games when I played in Trials was when there was all solo players, which I only got like 2 or 3 times. Almost every time I went into a Trials match, it was with 2 teams of 2 players and 2 randos. And I was one of the randos on one of the other sides. And I have to admit, it really wasn't that bad. Now you could say, well, the pool's really high right now. Maybe that's why, but I mean, there were still some real sweaty games in there. I won 4 in a row. I lost the next one, and that incidentally was the one with all the solo players in it. And when it went down to the wire. I mean, I think they beat us 5-4 round wise. So it was really close. But then the 5th, 6th, and 7th game, I won all those straight, and they were all paired up with another team of 2. And, the last 2 games were so easy. These people had obviously not played Trials, and they were just pushovers. I could just run right through them with anything I wanted and won, which proved to me that they totally got rid of card-based matchmaking, which I'm so happy for, because as you get closer, one thing I noticed when I played Trials in the past in the solo playlist, which they don't have that now, as you got more wins, the sweatier the games became. Once you hit that 5-win streak where you're on 5 wins, and I was using the passage of persistence where you had to win 2 back-to-back to progress the little dot up until you finally get 7, and then they consider that flawless. With this new system now, it's just so easy. You just win 7 games. I mean, when you join as a solo player with a team of 2 that are already working together and communicating, you got a 50-50 shot of winning that game, because those 2 are going to dictate pretty much where the game goes. You're just there to add and try not to take away from their gameplay. And I'm telling you, once you do that, I really had a good time. And what's funny is it was 11 o'clock at night. And I said, I'm playing till 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, win, lose, or draw, I'm done. I'm out, right? It was 12:30. I was already at the lighthouse. And I put a video in the Discord. But I had a 4-win streak for my weekly streak, because I won the first 4 in a row. But I tell you what, man, every game, win, lose, or draw, you were getting gear. You were getting armor. You were getting weapons. You were getting, and I got a lot of, Trials Engrams. But when I finally got to the tower, to the lighthouse, I walked up there and opened after the dialogue with, what's his face? The vendor. Why can't I remember anything?
Saint 14.
Thank you. Gosh, so many characters.
I don't even play Trials.
So many characters in this game.
I get it.
Once you have a dialogue with them, then you go up there and open the chest, and there's like a humming. It's like a and you open it up, and all of a sudden it goes kablooey, and just Engrams, trials of Osirian ciphers popped up. I got so much loot. I mean, enhancement prisms. What do they call those? The golf balls. Ascendant shards, got those. I got this week it was was it the hand cannon, which I'm not a big hand cannon user. But I got the Adept hand cannon that was available this week, which I put it in the vault, but I'm never really going to touch a hand cannon. It's a 140. It's supposed to be really good, but I got a bunch of non-Adept versions of it as well. And I tell you what, man, I can't think of anything in the game right now, including Iron Banner, that gives you more loot for a least amount of time. I'm talking even, this was like twice as much loot as you would get in a full Grandmaster Nightfall. I'm not kidding you. It is so much loot. They shower you with loot. They want you to play so badly that they will give you so much stuff. And let's say you never even make it to the lighthouse. Let's say you get 4 wins in a 3-hour play. They're giving you engrams. You're getting a ton more XP, which goes up on the seasonal track at St. 14 at the tower. So it unlocks stuff you can unlock and buy as well. But I got to tell you, man, I played an hour and a half, went to the tower, got my 7 wins, and didn't even play with sound on. I literally was watching YouTube videos. I think I was watching video podcasts while I was playing Trials of Osiris with no sound. And the games were so fast, you didn't even get your super. The rounds were so fast. The games are so fast. It's the first, 5 matches, first to 5 wins. It's that game type. But the games were so fast that no one even got their super. So I say all this to plead with you. If you've been sitting on the fence and you like the Trials of Osiris weapons, by the way, I got all the armor in that one run, head to toe armor. I'm good to go. So if you've been sitting on the fence and you're like, yeah, Bungie, we hear you that it's, I know you're trying to make it more casual and more fun. It really was fun. I had a good time. So, and I'm not a hardcore Crucible player. I'm just a hobbyist, but I'm telling you, if you jump in, obviously not this weekend because it's Iron Banner week, but next weekend, starting Friday, jump in and just try it. And if you're intimidated, just turn the sound off and just watch something on the side. It'll keep your mind off, you winning or getting your butt kicked or shot or whatever. And it happens to everybody, but I'm telling you, I was so impressed with how much stuff they gave you. Okay. I'm off my bandwagon. I know I can go off the deep end with that, but I just had to reiterate how important that weekend was for me. I was so surprised.
Basically, I kind of figured it would drop that much loot. Basically, what Bungie told us was the truth because they kind of told us all this was happening with that much loot.
It was crazy
when we were going over the TWID. Yeah.
And you got, of course, the armor you got at the Lighthouse was Pinnacle. And then you went back to St. 14. You get Pinnacle gear for winning 50 matches, 50 rounds. And then, of course, you get another for 7 wins. So you get 2 Pinnacles there right off the bat, too. So anyway, I just thought it was worth the time. Even though I didn't really care about the weapon, I just wanted to experience it and see if it was actually. Now, we'll see next week when it comes back if the player base is about the same. But I didn't even look at numbers or anything, but I just had to mention that. It was so much fun to play. Good times. And of course, Iron Banner's been fun too, but compared to Trials, I got so much more gear. All right. I'll stop there because I will go off into oblivion talking about Crucible because I get real passionate about it. But
the numbers for the weekend were kind of like getting up to on Steam. They were kind of getting up to about 60 to 63,000 each night. So that's
pretty good. Because I remember when Trials was down to 2,000 players. It might have been less than that.
This isn't saying Trials, this is saying all Destiny, but it includes Trials. Yeah. But
nice.
But I don't know that's just Trials too because
Exalted Truth.
It's really not much of a bump from Thursday. Thursday got up to Thursday
it starts Friday.
2,000. I know, but I'm just saying Thursday to Friday.
I'm trying to see the jump.
And then Friday. Sorry, wait. Let me see here. Thursday was the 13th. Friday was the 14th. So, okay. So, and then it was all about the same. And then even on Tuesday, it kind of was the same. So Trials didn't give it a big bump, but maybe it kept it high. Maybe it would have gone down if there wasn't Trials.
True. Okay. Anything else you wanted to talk about in Destiny this week? I know we got some builds we're going to talk about, but as far as
what we did, I don't think so.
So the week 3, I haven't done the week 3 story yet. So you're saying it was kind of anticlimactic?
Well, it was pointless. Like they should have just had it.
Just didn't done with
There's
it.
no reason they should have spread it out over week 2 and week 3. There is a cool thing that happens at the end. It's not a cutscene. It's like a live in-person thing.
Okay.
But there's only like one small thing you do before that.
Okay. Good to know. I'll run it this weekend.
Like, okay.
How much?
Now we got to wait 2 weeks or so until the next act.
That's right.
And all we're getting now is just whatever comes out anyways.
Well, we'll get the second set of weapons too from the Nether, right? Heard there's a fusion rifle.
Well, once Act 2 comes out, but I was saying, but until Act 2 comes out, there's not much going on PvE wise. Although I know Grandmasters start next week, so
nice
for people who care about that. But
I know Soccer's out there looking. I'm sure he loves running those things.
So, and it's 46,000 right now on Steam.
Okay.
But today is a little bit lower than yesterday or the day before, probably because not much is going on tonight. Other than Iron Banner. And then Grackle said, though, in the Discord chat that he had a painful trials experience, repeatedly matched with fellow Crucible scrubs and subsequently stomped.
Really?
So, it can happen. Matchmaking's never going to be perfect. Yeah. Even if you had a good experience, he didn't have a good experience. I think the point of this time, yes, you want to win, but you're getting loot a lot anyways, and you don't have to win the same way to go to the lighthouse. You don't have to win as much to get good loot. If you're just playing more than ever before, it's like, I kind of say if you're mostly there for the loot, other than if you need the really cool armor or pinnacles or something, but like, who cares if you win or lose? You're eventually going to get the loot, That's
just it. I mean, and here's the thing, Grackle, I'm talking to you too. It's wide open skill. I mean, it is open skill. There's no skill-based matchmaking involved in trials now. So it literally is, you just had a bad roll. You just had a bad session where you were coming up against, the sweaty players. But I'm actually going to make a video. I don't do videos much anymore unless there's something I'm really passionate about. And I'm going to do a video about how players who maybe don't play a lot of Crucible can jump in solo. And I just want to share some gameplay of how you can help the team you're with and increase your chances of winning. I'm really thinking about doing that. So, it's in my head, which means eventually it'll find its way to a video. But, I did want to mention one thing. I do have one movie review.
All right.
Movie review. I had to get that in. I did see the new movie on Apple TV called The Gorge. It is I would say it's a mix of a love story and science fiction kind of mashed into one movie. And it stars two of my favorite actors right now, which is Miles Teller and Anna Taylor-Joy. There are a couple of assassins that are independently assigned to these two towers on each side of this gorge, and by two different countries. Anna Taylor-Joy works for Russia, Lithuania. She's an assassin they use there, and then Miles Teller is an ex-Marine who does assassination hits, and they're both snipers. They both hold the record for the longest snipe or confirmed kill or whatever. But it's kind of funny how they communicate with each other, and it's really creative how they do that. But one thing happens where they have to go down in the gorge. And of course, the whole time you're watching this movie, you're wondering, what the hell is in this gorge? Because all you see is this big gorge, this big divide with a bunch of fog in it, and you never do see what comes out of it. Well, they do show you early in the movie what tries to come out of it. But then once they explain why these creatures are coming out of there, and I'm already giving away too much, it'll blow you away. It's really a pretty good premise as far as a story. The plot is very well done. But the second half of the movie is all just crazy bonkers trying to stay alive. And, think Alien. It was like Alien. You're just looking around for anything to kill you. It's like anything can kill you down there. So it was a really good movie. I gave it 3.5 stars. Good, solid movie. It is now on Apple TV Plus. If you have that subscription or you want to try to do that, try to watch some stuff on there. Apple TV Plus has a ton of really good series. And of course I did see this week's Severance as well, which, man, Severance is just getting crazy. it's just getting wackier and wackier every week. So I'm really liking that show as well. But that's it for me for this week. Anything else, Kingsley?
I'm good. That's all for me.
I was going to see Becoming Led Zeppelin Tuesday, but I was so tired we canceled it. But we are going to go see it this weekend, I think, or actually Tuesday before our next show. So I might mention it then. Mickey 17 comes up in March, and look out for another Steven Soderbergh movie coming out on March 14th called Black Bag. That is going to be a fantastic spy thriller. So that's one I've seen previews of, and I'm really looking forward to seeing. So, all right. Well, what do you want to do, Kingsley? You want to do the TWAB next, or you want to get into our builds? What do you think?
Whatever you want. I mean,
you know what?
Quid is boring to me.
You know what?
So maybe get out of the way, or I don't know.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's okay. Now that we've talked about our week, let's get into this week in Destiny.
Hey, this is Mr. Monkey, not Killer Monkey, not Monocle Monkey, Mr. Monkey. Get your bounties done. You're listening to Guardian Downcast.
All right, this week in Destiny for February 20th, 2025, and I'm going to pass the talking stick over to Kingsley because I have not read the TWAB this week. I'm just being honest. So, Kingsley, what's going on this week, man?
Yeah, not too much. The main thing that they have in here is stuff we all kind of found out about already. But in case you haven't heard, there's it was an issue and a bug, but now they're letting it go forward with class glaives and swords update. I don't really care about this, but I know a lot of people might be excited. But basically, what was happening was on the back end, they shifted to a new way of creating weapons and rewards to help streamline some of the development process. And while doing this, the normal class lockouts that they have for exotic glaives and a handful of swords were mistakenly removed. So what that meant was you could run the other classes on your class.
I love it.
So
I always hated that restriction.
Yeah.
I love these glaives. I didn't used to, but when they buffed them, they're a lot of fun.
I mean, again, as it being an exotic, unless you're a real glaive lover, I don't want to use an exotic glaive, but I know they're supposed to be pretty good. But again, that coveted exotic slot, and then we have so many exotics these days that it's hard to pick which one you want, right?
I get that, but these have really good extra powers. I mean,
well, of course they do. Yeah,
the Warlock one actually has a healing bulb, like a healing orb that gives you energy, and it's like a little portable healer unit. I think the Titan one gives you like a little mini bubble. The Warlock.
I feel though like we have so many other ways to protect ourselves these days and stuff. I'm not trying to like talk down on them, but yeah.
Okay, they're just they're unique. They're novelties.
How many people that use them, honestly?
Yeah.
Other than some names we hear in the Discord that love glaives and stuff, but I don't know. But anyways, they told us that their first reaction were focused more towards fixing the issue, as they wanted to retain strong class-based fantasies within Destiny. But, of course, it's a bit weird, they said, to see a Warlock or Hunter spawning the mini bubble that the Titan one's supposed to have. But after some discussions between team members, we arrived at a new decision. We're going to let this ride. A fun example of a bug becoming a feature. So
I like it. I saw that. I tweeted that. I sent that tweet to you today, and he's like, "Oh, I already got this." Yep.
Yeah. Now, a couple things. There will be some weird things, like animations may look a bit weird, given that the class-based swords are a bit older, and this can create fun opportunities for players to create videos or art. And class-based glaives open up some interesting new buildcraft opportunities. So I guess that's some cool things there. Basically, they said that don't expect this to always happen. If something happens again in the future with another thing that shouldn't be unlocked in your character, but for whatever reason, they decided to let this one ride.
Yeah, we're not getting fun. We're not getting another laser weekend, guys. Remember that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like I really think if for some reason we could use Titan armor on Warlocks and vice versa, they would probably fix that.
Well, we can. It's called the class item.
Well, yeah, but I mean like the actual pieces so that they look different.
I was just being a pain in the ass.
Fit your body. Yeah, well, but yeah, I know, right? The class item thing's pretty good. So that's all on that. All right. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, but they're telling us that Grandmaster Nightfalls will unlock next week. And if you like to get your Conqueror title, and it'll be the opportunity to earn the reprised Palindrome. Now, this weapon was my favorite weapon in Destiny 1 for a couple reasons. I remember when I first started playing Destiny 1, the very first legendary that I got was not this, but the Down and Doubt hand cannon. I don't know if you remember Down and Doubt from Destiny 1.
I'm sure if you showed it to me, I'd remember it.
Yeah.
Names are just terrible.
And, you're going along and you're getting blues and greens for quite a while. And then you finally get a legendary. You're like, whoa, this is so much more powerful. And you can upgrade it more and stuff. And again, this was after taking Kings. So like all that stuff was like in a better place.
Right. And
I loved the range. I loved how powerful it was. It just took down things way quicker than an auto rifle would. And easier to hit closer range targets than like a scout or a pulse. If a target's right in front of your face, it's going to be a little easier to hit with a hand cannon than a pulse or a scout. So I haven't been as much on hand cannons in Destiny 2 as much as Destiny 1, but I had that Down and Doubt. And then if anyone remembers with Palindrome, there was a week, I think it was in Rise of Iron time frame, but it might have been King's Fall, but they had a God roll palindrome that you could get at the weapon master, quartermaster, or whatever, downstairs in the tower. Mm-hmm. And I remember a lot of my buddies got it. It was a huge talk on Destiny Reset Discord at the time because I remember being in that crew.
Right.
And this weapon, when I got the God roll palindrome, it lasted me through the rest of Destiny 1, being just a really good, super long range, hitting hard. Basically the range of like a pulse or a scout. That's how good it was, and just easier to deal with. And so Palindrome always has a soft spot in my heart. I don't know if I'm going to be hopping into a GM, but it's going to be the reprised weapon.
You can probably imagine what I'm going to think about that. It's a hand cannon. Yeah.
Well, they are good, whether you like it or not.
Well, I had several palindrome in Destiny 1.
Yeah.
I've just never.
No, it's fine if you don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah,
but they are good weapons if you like them. For people that do like them, they're powerful.
It's a legacy weapon, man. I'm sure when that comes out, there'll be a lot of heads knocking in Crucible too, because it's crazy strong in Crucible. At least it was. We'll see how.
But hand cannons to be good in PvE also, actually, if you have good rolls and especially one like Palindrome, or I'm using right now a lot Kept Confidence. It's a strand hand cannon, and that one very powerful for doing the thread lanes. I have Killing Wind and multi-kill clip on it.
Okay.
So it's a pretty good PvE roll there.
Is that the one from Neptune?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's a 120. Yeah.
Strand.
Heavy
It's a 140.
140? Okay.
It's a 140. Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yep.
Nice.
All right. And I like 140s the best too, and I like the 150 the best, Sunshot, but that's the only one that does 150.
Yeah.
All right. I don't like 180s. I don't like 120s as much, but that's being a PvE guy. I feel like that 140, 150s, the perfect speed for getting ads.
Good balance,
in my opinion. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
They're talking about Sundered Doctrine's going to have a show match, meaning there's going to be a dungeon speedrun competition between your favorite streamer teams. So they're having yet another already Twitch race big event coming up. And this is going to take place February 25th from 9 a.m. Pacific.
That's middle next
through
week.
March 4th. So I guess what's happening is there's going to have different teams, and then they'll just have the fastest time afterwards. The winning fire team will receive 1,000 worth of Twitch subs each.
Nice.
And a full set of Sundered Doctrine Bungie reward items.
Wow.
Check out the team members' social channels for more info. They show a emblem in the TWID of that they will be able to give away, it looks like. I didn't read this part ahead of time. Everyone will have the Osmium Air emblems to give away too, so keep your eyes peeled.
Looks good. Okay.
Yeah, and they list below that the teams you can follow or watch. Of course, there's some names like you'll recognize. CB Gray. Oh, there you go. True Vanguard for Team 3.
Nice. That'll be fun.
And other countries, there's a bunch that you can follow if you are in those areas.
Dan Finity. Dan Finny's in Team 1. Good for him.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a cool guy. I like that guy.
Yeah. Cool. I don't know if I'll be watching this at all, but it's cool, I guess, that they're doing
Tuesday reset.
A dungeon.
Sounds like 25th is a Tuesday, I believe. Yeah.
The dungeon speedrun competition.
Yeah, it's going to be reset Tuesday. 9 a.m. Pacific. Yep. Okay. Wow.
More fashion feedback stuff. It says it never stops. So, like, we don't have to go through this because we haven't gotten through it in the other weeks. But
yeah, I mean, you go to Bungie.net. They have these are like themes for armor, and they give you they give you the theme name, and then they give you like what they try to visualize what it's going to look like, and you can go to and vote on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Show us your Heresy fashion below that. It says, it's time, put on your favorite getup and show us your best fashion statements. And they talk about the themes, which we had above that. And they tell you the colors you can use. I mean, as what they recommend for main colors, but you can use others in the background and everything. So just look through it if you're interested. And they'll pick the winners and share them out on social media channels in the next few twids. You have until March 6th.
Okay.
All right. Player support report. See, there's not much going on here this week, but
shit's broken.
We already
Good night, guys.
talked about this.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Good night. But February 22nd is this Saturday. So if you're listening to this live, but that's going to be the redo on the contest mode because remember PlayStation was down. So you have an opportunity to go back in for that. Okay, this is interesting. Do we know what the curio of the 9 items are for yet?
I've got one in my inventory. I don't know
what
it is.
Several.
I have no clue.
Anyways, they fixed an issue where they could lose their curio of the 9 items if sent to the postmaster or stored in the vault. While we have nothing to say regarding their purpose, we're investigating a way to return those lost curios back to players. So we don't know yet.
Gosh, you can get 9,999 of them. An enigmatic token of favor containing markings of the 9. The 9 do not wish to reveal the purpose seeking your favor yet. While this item does not currently... You know what? You said there was a big gap between now and Frontiers. I wonder if they're going to be giving this stuff away for some special event. I'm looking.
Yes, but why are they giving it now? Because you get them in even this X. You get them from the seasonal challenges. That's how you get them. So when you do the seasonal challenges, they are a reward. There's like one per week that you can get, or however many they drop, but one option per week, as I've been noticing so far.
Okay. All right.
Other than that, there's a whole list. Anything look interesting to you? Shit's broken.
Shit's broken, man. There's always shit broken. I mean, my God, we're still getting. I'm getting tired of the damn weasel errors and all these errors we keep getting. Every week it seems like there's another error popping up, but yeah. There's some nice art of Eris here. Yeah, it looks really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice Eris
art.
Yep.
And a video, of course. I haven't checked it out, but check it out. It says poor raid bosses. They won the last dungeon race, and they're back with a vengeance against some of the tough raid bosses. So that could be fun to watch.
Oh, okay. Very good. Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it. They said we're a few weeks into Heresy, and we're seeing a lot of cool things with builds. We're going to talk about a build also, and that's basically it. And but Act 2, I want to see the date again. It's coming sooner than some people might expect.
We're in week 3 of Heresy, so I think we have one more week, right? 1 more, or is it 5 weeks to Act 2?
No, it's Act 2 starts in 18 days, so a little over 2 weeks.
Okay, all right.
We have 2 weeks basically left.
2 weeks. Okay, good to know.
But then Act 2 is only going to last 3 weeks, they said, or 4 weeks. It's going to be really short for Act 2. I don't
understand this logic. There's something we don't know. There's something obviously we don't know as far as how they're timing all this out. Otherwise, they wouldn't do stuff like this unless they had to fit something in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kingsley. Appreciate it, man.
You're welcome.
It's been a busy day today. I got everything up for doing the builds and stuff tonight. And I got a surprise build I'm actually going to mention too that you don't even know about, a weapon build. And, I want to make sure I mention that tonight. So that's what I was doing the last minute. I was putting that build together real quick.
Excellent.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Destiny 2 community team. Thank you, Kingsley. And that means we'll be right back and we'll get into our one of our favorite builds we've run into this season so far. Be right back.
Hello, everybody. You are listening to Jealous Gaming on Guardian Downcast.
Kingsley, let's get into our build here. You had something you wanted to say about it before we got into the build here. I'm going to share my screen.
We were talking about this when we were planning the show, and this is actually a build I was going to recommend last week, but then at the last second, I decided to do a new build just to kind of switch it up, and because I wanted to have something prismatic that would maybe appeal to Todd or other people that don't want to try Arc, but I kind of regretted not doing this build because if anything, it's gotten even more popularity. I switched back to it. I don't like the build I recommended last week now that I've tried it more. And you were going to mention it too. And I'm telling you people, the fact that Todd saw this, I still love this build. All the streamers are talking about it. This is a hot build right now.
This build is all about infinite supers. I mean, it's really what it comes down to. And I'm going to share my game screen here real quick. So bear with me here. I'm going to see if I can make sure this works the way it's supposed to. And, hopefully you guys can still hear Kingsley. I have my game
Can you
on.
hear me?
Oh my God, I'm FUD Games. What are your thoughts on Subaru?
I don't like it. And they made me wear this hat because I didn't pay my car payment on time. No, just kidding. I love my Subaru.
Good to see you, brother. No, we're going over a build here, Elmer Fudd. I know you're not playing a ton of Destiny right now, but it is a good time to be a Warlock right now because my goodness, they have got some builds that are just crazy right now. This build is based on a couple things that have been buffed. Geomag stabilizers and Delicate Tomb are the two main things that you need to know about in here. And the thing with the Geomag stabilizers is they have a perk called Close Enough. Damaging targets with Chaos Reach extends its duration, collecting ionic traces, which grant you energy for more Chaos Reach. Sprinting while near max bolt charge will grant stacks over time. That's with these exotic leg pieces. Trader's Vessel fires a wide horizontal spread when shot from the hip. Final blows with this weapon have a chance to generate ionic traces as well. Powerful foes and opposing guardians always generate ionic traces. This is the Delicate Tomb. What do they call it? A heavy burst? I'm trying to remember what they called this. I think they called it a heavy burst. Let me see here.
Well,
it's called a. Does it really say what kind of? It just says Trader's Vessel.
It's very unique.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
And I actually
because it has a horizontal spread too instead of a vertical.
It's never a good time to be a Warlock. It's always a good time to be a Warlock. And then of course, Tempest Cascade, collecting an ionic trace overcharges the weapon's next shot, jolting targets on hit. I had to have the catalyst for this as well. And that's the one what they're talking about. Collecting ionic trace partially reloads the magazine from reserves as well, in addition to everything I just said. So this build is based on these two things, the Geomag stabilizers and you see, I got my weapon surges on, Kingsley, and also the Delicate Tomb. These both are going to be working together very well. So the first thing we need to look at here is, of course, the aspects and fragments, right? So looking at the aspects and fragments.
First of all, just remind people, this is a Arc subclass, not Prismatic, so you got to be on Arc.
It is Arc. Yes, it's definitely Arc. But if you look at the subclass here, there we go. I don't use a mouse much. Here we go. The first aspect you want to use is the new Ionic Sentry. Accumulate stacks of arc bolt charge while you have bolt charge. Sustained weapon damage generates stacks of bolt charge. At maximum stacks, any ability damage increases a powerful bulk of arc lightning at the target's location. Receiving a stack of bolt charge grants you melee energy. And it also has blind. Combatants are disoriented and cannot fire their weapons. Opposing guardians, HUD is removed and their vision is obscured. I've gotten blind before in Crucible, and it is not a good place to be. let me tell you. So Ionic Sentry, this is the new arc aspect. You have to go to Ikora. If it's not lit up, you have to go there and purchase it to get it, because it's one of the new ones. And the second one is one that's been around a while, called Electrostatic Mind. Your movement speed and weapon handling are greatly increased. After sprinting for a short time, your movement speed is further increased. Repeatedly defeating targets with arc damage makes you amplified. And of course, arc traces. You get a bolt of pure arc energy that travels along the ground seeking toward its creator, which is you. When picked up, ionic traces grant ability energy. You have Jolted. The target is energized with destructive arc light. They take additional damage when jolted and chain lightning to nearby targets. Jolt damage causes overload champions. You know how fun those are. Those will be stunned as well. And then you have blind again. It works very good on unstoppable champions if they get stunned. So this is just packed with goodies right here. So let's get to the fragments. First fragment you want to have is Spark of Beacons. While you're amplified, your arc special or heavy ammo weapon final blows create blinding explosion. And guess what we have? We have a special. Oh, and I have a heavy as well. This is just one of my hullabaloo from, Guardian Games, I think? This is a really good, compressed waveframe, grenade launcher as well. I just threw that in there just for shits and giggles. But this is, of course, what you're looking for, as far as tying into that fragment. Okay. The second one, and they said this pretty much, the second one you need to have for this is Spark of Discharge. Arc weapon final blows have a chance to create an ionic trace. Collecting an ionic trace grants you a stack of bolt charge. You are penalized 10 strength. And then finally, Spark of Frequency. Melee hits increase your equipped weapon's reload speed and stability for a short duration, while amplified, the effects of are increased, and you gain increased stacks, of bolt charge from all sources. So, and there was one here that you could put in wherever you want, but I like this one. It's called Spark of Ions. Jolted targets, defeating a jolted target or defeating a target with bolt charge creates an ionic trace. So you're going to have all these ionic traces just keep coming back to you. Just keep refilling your super, keep refilling your special, cause you have that catalyst on this weapon, and it's going to keep increasing all your abilities. So you're just going to be a one-man wrecking crew with this build. It's going to be really nice. So, those are the 4 that I am using right now. But also wanted to mention too, as far as grenades, you can use any grenade you want. I like the pulse grenade. This ball lightning, which is this melee you talked about last week in your build, Kingsley. I haven't used this a whole lot yet. I need to practice using it, but you basically have tickle fingers if you use your melee a certain way when you're running.
When it goes really far.
Do you have to slide to activate it?
No.
Wow. I gotta try really this. Far. This gets me excited just looking at this. So, and of course, whatever jumps, and if you want more, empowering riff for more power, or you want to heal, I recommend healing. But, yeah, these are, this setup right here is just an arc making machine. And, Kings, I don't know if you want to add anything to this. Let me go back to the thing here.
Yeah.
Now I'm not.
Do you want to go over like armor mods, or should I do that? Or
I'll tell you what armor mods I'm going to use here, because I put this together last night. I'm using first. My helmet I'm using because I'm playing PvE. I've got Arc Siphon because that'll create orbs of power when I kill multiple enemies with arc weapons. Which, guess what? I'm using an arc weapon. Special ammo finder just because I had the room to put it in there, so that'll give me more special to drop to refill my special weapon, which is again the Delicate Tomb. And then I've got stasis siphon because I'm using one of my favorite auto rifles right now, which is Fair Judgment. This was the seasonal weapon for all the activities. And on this weapon, you can go with Tombstone Rhyme Stealer, and you create stasis crystals. And when you crush them, you get frost armor. So you get even more resistance there. So that's why I like using this as my primary. Doesn't have quite the range of like a scout rifle, and I'm sure you probably use a scout rifle here, Kingsley, but that's why I have the stasis siphon here. If I kill multiple things with my stasis rifle there, I'll get orbs as well. For my my gloves. I've got arc loaders, and I've got bolstering detonation. All that bolstering detonation does is I get more class ability energy when I cause damage with a grenade. That's kind of a no-brainer. On my chest piece, arc damage resistance, solar damage resistance, and if I'm going to be up close to like some bosses that like to stomp, I like having concussive dampener on. So, and of course on my Geomag stabilizers, I'm using arc weapon surge, Kingsley. 2 arc weapon surges for DPS.
Good. Make sure you keep them on next time you raid.
Yes, I will. I'll bring this in just for you, buddy. I tell you what, the Kamehameha, or whatever, Kamehameha, or whatever they call this super, I have so much fun. I have so much fun using it. It is so much fun. I love it more than the Nova Bomb because you literally are just a beam of pure energy light shooting at the target, and just the visual of that, and they've actually improved the visual because it was hard to aim it because the way you're floating in the air in third person, it was hard to see where to shoot it. They've improved that as well. So, and I pretty much keep the same stuff on my bonds, bomber, distribution, double bomber. And of course, if you're going into PvE, you got to have 100 resilience. You want to have 100 resilience to make sure you're the most tankiest person in there. And mobility is not quite as important, but it's good to have high recovery because I'm a warlock. That gives me more of my class ability, my riffs or whatever I decide to use there. So that's pretty much the way I put mine together here, Kingsley. Do you want to share how maybe you would do things a little bit differently?
Yeah, it's similar-ish. And the thing about this build, there's a lot of ways you can do it, but we really just have to stress again, if you haven't tried Arc Warlock this episode in this act, and more people have. I was talking to some people the other day, and they were having fun with it too. And again, because like the Chaos Reach Super is excellent, especially with the additional buff that Geomag Stabilizers got. Mm-hmm. It lasts so freaking long. It's really powerful if you stay on target. Sure, it's not a one and done, but because of the buff that it got, I think it puts out more total damage output. You're just losing some time on compared to other things like Nova Bomb or whatever, but you're just losing some time on being able to switch to another weapon. So maybe it's not total damage compared to the weapon part too, but this build is just amazing. When you're using it, I've had times where my super I use it, and then it comes back like 20 seconds later again. Wow. And so that alone can give you more total damage output. Of course, it depends on all the ads around you and if you're getting the Ionic traces and everything. Yeah. But it just keeps coming back and coming back. And I love the Amplify. And I want to talk about some slight differences that I'm doing. Okay. But first of all, I have been using it with Delicate Tomb also. I think that's a very good option for it right now. Okay. You can also run this really well with Cold Heart. I was running it originally with Cold Heart. Okay. And it kind of just depends on with both of these, with putting on Special Ammo Finder, which you definitely want. Mm-hmm. I think Delicate Tomb is the better overall utility version, but Cold Heart is maybe better if you're going to be dealing with some longer range stuff, because of course Delicate Tomb being a fusion rifle doesn't work well with longer range stuff. Now, of course, you could say, well, that's what my primary weapon would be for, but again, I'm talking about just a cool Cold Heart's just such a good special weapon with that range, with that distance. Yeah. On a couple other things I want to mention, the Onyx Sentry. For people that haven't tried that yet, that's that new arc turret thing that blinds enemies. Yeah. And it'll also blind you if you get too close, by the way, so be careful on that. Yeah,
JD Kent was just saying that. He says, be careful if you throw it too close, you'll blind yourself. No, I don't need to do that. Especially if I'm on stream. But this is a really good... This is better than the ones we had in the past, because this works like Gambler's Dodge, where basically it charges up and it gives you this turret that you can throw out, but it doesn't take your grenade. So you can throw this out, and then you can throw out a grenade right after it or before it or whatever. Wow. So that is excellent. You can use this and your grenade. You don't have to convert your grenade. You don't have to swallow your grenade or use your grenade or anything like that. Wow. Okay. And Ionic Sentry is even bugged right now. And this build is amazing even right now, and it's going to be getting even better because Bungie admitted that some of the synergies with Ionic Sentry don't fully work yet. So if this build is already this good right now... It's being nerfed right now? Jeez. Wow.
Yeah. This build is technically nerfed right now by at least a little bit. On the fragments, it's kind of like what you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Those are good ones. Now, you can And there's an article that goes along with this too, but you can swap the Spark of Beacons and Spark of Shock are not required for this build to work well.
No.
If you want Cold Heart, you definitely want Spark of Beacons because Spark of Beacons works really well with that. But definitely at least do Spark of Frequency and Spark of Discharge. Now, what I did instead of Shock is Spark of Resistance because this gives you even more damage resistance. This is an additional 15%. Okay. So if you think about this, we have, as Warlocks, 30% damage resistance if you are doing the 100 Resil, right, which you should do. Like Gator said, like make sure you're at 100 Resilience. Then when you're amplified, you get another 15% resistance on top of that. Plus, you get another, in theory, buff because they also buffed something where ads don't lock onto you as easily anymore when you're amplified, they said. Right. So that, in essence, is like a damage resistance, too, because if the ads aren't hitting you as easily. And then, with Spark Resistance, that's another 15% damage resistance buff on top of that. So there's times where I'm running this build where I feel like invincible. In fact, I've been playing a little too reckless and going in like a Titan, like Sin or things like that. And I've died a couple times when I'm like extremely careless. But this build, you can feel like a god if you play it right.
Wow. Sounds fun.
I'm running with Delicate Tomb, and then I'm running it with Watchful Eye for the heavy right now. That's the new seasonal machine gun. And I have that with Jolting Feedback, so it synergizes really well. It's an arc machine gun, and it synergizes really well with this build.
Okay. Yeah.
For my primary, you can use whatever.
Yep.
But I'm using right now Kept Confidence, the Strand hand cannon, like I mentioned earlier.
From Neptune. Yep.
For the helmet, I actually recommend, you mentioned Arc Siphon, but you can actually use Harmonic Siphon and save energy cost because
yes, thank you. No, actually I did.
Save an energy
I did use Harmonic Siphon. It just shows up as Arc Siphon. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Because it only costs it's half the price. Yep. Or a third of the price.
I use Harmonic Siphon, and then I actually use Kinetic Siphon for the other one because that's where the other kills are going to come from.
Right.
But I think it's really important to have a special ammo finder on the helmet because whether you're doing the Fusion or the Cold Heart, since that arc is so important on your build, you want to have as much ammo as you can. So I really recommend a special ammo finder.
Yeah. And then, of course, if you have the catalyst done on this, you'll get, as an Onyx Trace comes, it'll actually partially reload from reserves as well. So you won't have to reload as fast too. This might be really good for DPS.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. For the arms, I actually use Harmonic Loader because you get even a faster reload.
I did too.
Impact induction and focusing strike, but you can vary those a little bit.
Decide to use there. Yeah.
Of course, for the chest piece, the resistance is, of course, for the boots. Now, if you're doing easier content, you don't need to worry about bosses as much. You can have some synergy for the boots. You can swap out the surge mods for those other PvE ability things. But I'm generally running 2 arc weapon surges on my boots because why not? I just want the extra damage. And then, the bond is just basic. I mean, there's some variation there. I'm using Reaper, Powerful Attraction, and Bomber.
Got you.
I really like the Powerful Attraction because nearby orbs, you can get them
I should probably put that on. That makes sense. Because what happens is when you use your, in this case, my Rift, it'll suck all the orbs right to me. Makes it really nice. Anything that's close by, it'll bring it right to me. It's really nice. Yeah. That's a good, I changed that over. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah. So Reaper, Powerful Traction, and Bomber for the class item. But, you can play these how you want. The most important thing is this is a flexible build. You don't have to do any crazy, do this step 1AB, then jump up in the air, then slam down and do step 2, then do step 3. Oh, and then you have this energy. No, it just kind of works as long as you're using your arc weapons. You're getting the orbs, you're getting the Onyx Traces. Be sure to throw out your turret when you have it.
Yep.
And throw out your grenades. I use Pulse Grenade too. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it lasts the longest, I think.
Yeah, this build is so fun, and I'm glad because I like switching the subclasses when there's reasons to, and I've had a lot of fun with Prismatic, and I'm sure I'll be switching back to Prismatic soon enough when some other cool build comes out. But I've always liked Arc. If anyone's listened to me on this show or in Guardian Hub, I've mentioned even in the past, I promote Arc more than other people do on Warlock because again, the amplify is, I think, the best part about it. When you're amplified, you move faster.
Yeah.
You have damage resistance because the ads aren't hitting you as much. It's kind of like another way to deal with staying alive. And once you get used to amplify too, you get annoyed when you go back to the other subclasses and you can't get that faster speed because you get so used to it.
Very true.
So
yep, very true.
Yep. Great build. Yeah, we both. Yep. Have you tried it much?
I haven't tried it yet. I just found out about it. I was just reading an article,
so
and then you said, "Oh, this is very much like what I'm talking about." I was like, "Well, this must be." And he says, "Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about this build right now." So I'm like, "I haven't used this new aspect yet." So explain how it works again? How this aspect works? You actually throw out turrets?
It charges up. Again, the actual words is you get it charged up by just having kinetic or arc weapon kills. Okay. So that's easy with this.
Easy, PvE.
And then you'll see your grenade turn to another icon that looks like an upside down U with like a little key in it.
Okay.
But when it's charged up, you don't do anything special. You don't hold or swallow your grenade. You just throw it out and it throws out the turret. But again, it doesn't take your grenade. Then you can throw your grenade right after.
Oh my God. Really? Oh, that's so much fun. That's going to be so much fun to use.
Yeah.
Wow. So, oh wow. Okay. That's pretty cool. And the turret just shoots electric energy, or is it freeze, or what's it do? I know my turret's freeze.
No, it's electric. Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we researched that because man, it looks fun.
Yeah. And it's great with the unstoppable because the blind effects and of course the overload because the jolt effects, like you mentioned. So you got even if you don't have weapons to match that, you got abilities that matches unstop and overload really well.
Yeah. Good deal. Good deal. Well,
sorry. One last thing.
Yep.
I got another reason why I switched to Delicate Tomb recently is because of the artifact, and I should talk about some artifact that synergize with this.
Yeah. I want to do that too. Yeah, because let me pull it up on screen here because we'll go through it.
Do you have?
Yes.
I'll see if they match up.
We'll see. Let's see. Yes, I did change it over for this build. I went through it. I went through last night and researched it, and this is what I came up with. Let me hold on. Let me go back to my screen here.
I'm just going to mention the ones that specifically synergize with this arc build.
Yep.
I'm not going to mention
pull it up.
The artifact.
Yeah, because there's some strong stuff in here, man. All right. Let's start. Well, obviously, the first row is just your champion mods. We don't need to worry about that. So starting in row 2, where are we going?
Overclock and load. While you're amplified, it's at the top. While you're amplified or have bolt charge, arc weapons gain increased handling and reload speed. So even some more. So why not, right?
That's the one I chose. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Did you choose the one down below?
Nothing else on the second.
Really?
Well, I mean, nothing for the arc part.
Okay. Yeah, this is to do with arc, right?
Again, I'm not reading all of them because people can do what they want for the other ones. I'm just reading the ones that synergize with this arc build.
Okay, in the third row? I think we're going to
third row, dielectric.
Yes.
Defeating arc debuff targets grant bolt charge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And then photonic flare. Defeating an exhausted or severed target with arc damage releases a blinding burst.
That's so cool.
Okay.
You didn't pick King's Vestige, defeating powerful taken. Well, that's for taking weapons. Never mind. That's for taking.
Yeah, I'm only mentioning the arc ones.
Okay,
right now.
my bad. And I had the room. I did pick Dreadful Finisher just because it creates special ammo for your whole team. I kind of felt that was apropos here.
I did pick King's Vestige, but that's not anything related to
do with arc. I got you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. And then in the fourth column, flashover. When you gain maximum bolt charge, you also become amplified. So one more thing to help with that. Yep. Lightning bolts deal more damage.
Yep, I picked that as well. And then was there anything on the last row?
Well, there is real quick. I mean, I picked Horde Shuttle. That's not technically the arc build, but if we're using a strand weapon, whatever, that's good for that. So
Horde Shuttle?
But on the last row.
Okay.
Yeah, Horde Shuttle is right below Flash.
And Rattling and Threadling. Yeah, I had that, but I chose something else.
That's not technically part of this build.
Now, did you pick... I know this has... I only picked this because it has to do with the fusion rifle. Is particle reconstruction. It's like one of the greatest hits.
That's what I was getting at because I finally unlocked that part and it will buff Delicate Tomb some more. Of course, people are really using that for the heavy fusion, linear fusions for like Queen Breaker and stuff like that, but it'll also work on Delicate Tomb, so why not?
And then add to that, the catalyst is still reloading when you get kills with the Delicate Tomb. mean, you're never going to have to reload this weapon if you have this equipped. So this is an oldie but a goodie here. Particle Reconstruction is a really good perk. I mean, you should have that on just about everything if you use a fusion or linear.
And then the last one you want to have for your last one, because you can have 2 in the last column.
Right.
Defibrillating Blast. That's second from the bottom.
Let me
Stunning a champion. This isn't as important, but when you're dealing with champions, stunning a champion grants maximum stacks of bolt charge, just like that. And it triggers an arc bolt that heals you and jolts combatants that it damages.
Yeah, I had something over here picked, Deep Alchemy, that I don't need to be using, that I would put here. Because I have 11 of my 12 open. I don't have all my 12 open.
I technically do too. Yeah. I'm a little further on the bar, I can see, than on your screen. But I already did particle reconstruction, but I'll get defibrillating blast probably within the next week.
Stunning a champion grants maximum stacks of bolt charge, triggers an arc bolt that heals you and jolts combatant. I mean, come on, man.
See how many things synergize here?
Yes.
This I'm telling you, this build, I've had so much fun. I've been running it since basically the beginning of the season, other than last week where I tried that other build for a little bit, and I mentioned it on the show, and it's still a good build. I'm not saying you guys should just throw it out, but this build I've come back to, and I know we just talk about Warlock stuff because we're both Warlock fans. But
I was just going to mention I do have a Titan and Hunter, and I'm going to, in the future shows, I'm going to come up with Titan and Hunter builds as well. Yeah, I'll research it out. Yep. Yeah, that's fantastic. And of course, have to use piercing sidearms for my anti-barrier champions. Just had to mention that. Throw that in there. Versus a sniper rifle. Okay. Yeah. It's cool, man. I'm glad you reminded me, because I was going to mention those things as well when I was looking at it last night. I was putting this build together, and it was pretty nice. It was pretty cool. So, yeah.
We should run it together, even just some like Nether, like a lower level Nightfall
We'd
or
probably
something.
just destroy. Everything would just be laid to waste.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Well, like I said, it's a good time to be a Warlock, but like I said, I do run a Hunter and a Titan, and I do plan on, I have an Invincible Hunter build, but I'm not going to share it tonight. I didn't prepare for it tonight, but, I just wanted to let you guys know. Now, the one thing I wanted to mention before we moved on to the next segment is there is a new, seasonal rifle out now that is of the same frame as one of the Final Shape weapons, which is called the No Hesitation. If you remember, those of you who played Final Shape, you actually get a red bar version of this when you finish the campaign. And when you get 5 red bars, you can actually craft this weapon. But versus the support frame auto rifle that we're now getting with the new Season of Heresy, it is all RNG. So, I do have a couple really good rolls here that I just want to show. The Adamantite. I got one with, Tear and Slice. Now, if I ever want to put a strand build together, I just have a feeling that these are going to work so well together. So I went ahead and kept this version as well. But keep in mind, it's all RNG. You can't craft these weapons. The other one I got, I'm really proud of this, is I got one with Runneth Over is the perk that's really nice to have with this rifle. Circle of Life and Reciprocity. Those work so well hand in hand, because when you run in the Nether, you have to keep your enemies. I mean, health is everything. So the fact that you can shoot this gun and hipfire it at your teammates, it gives them healing energy. Well, with Circle of Life, you actually can create it where it does more damage as you're healing people. It grants the weapon improved period of increased damage when you're rapidly healing your allies. So I just got lucky with this drop. I just got lucky. But if you're not having the best of luck getting this rifle, I suggest going back to Final Shape and the Pale Heart and crafting the No Hesitation, because this rifle can be bonkers if you have it crafted. And what I was going to do tonight is I was going to fly to the crafting table, and we're going to build it together. And you guys can see how crazy this rifle can be compared to the RNG rolls of this Season of Heresy. So I'm going to put on my screen again, and we're going to fly to the Throne World, and we're going to craft this real quick. And I want to just show you the possibilities that this rifle has compared to the RNG drops that we're getting with the adamantite. So, the Enclave. I never
the adamantite, a lot of people don't like it. It just doesn't seem, it's not even just the RNG versus crafting thing, but it just doesn't seem very stable, and it's just kind of an annoying weapon. So,
well, first thing, to unlock all the things on your crafting table, you do need to make sure that you're at around level 16 or 17 on your red bar. So I'm going to go ahead and manually, I have plenty of stuff here. I'm going to manually get it to level 17 to make sure I have everything unlocked so I can show you guys everything you can do with this. And you're probably guessing, Kingsley, this is going to, it's kind of proving my point that the crafting versus the RNG part of, then it's pretty much the same rifle, but I just want to show you guys what you can do with a crafted rifle of the same version, the same kind of rifle here versus one that you get to drop RNG. So I have it at level 17. I have to not have it on. I have to unlock it. And then we're going to run down here to the crafting table. I'm a very, as Kingsley probably knows, I'm very much a proponent of crafting weapons, because here's the thing. I get my five red bars, whether I get one weekly from, ranking up the ghost at the Pale Heart. So I can get that, so I can purchase or get a red bar every week, which takes 5 weeks if you wait it out, or you can just play the game, and as RNG will give you red bars, over time as well. So, all right, so let's build this sucker. Reshape. Looks like I have one. No hesitation. The first thing you're going to do, and people who have crafted their weapons probably already know all this, but I just want to show you the possibilities you have crafting versus just a plain old RNG drop. And I know you can enhance the two main perks on the weapon, but let's see, we got handling, we got range, we got reload speed, and we got stability. I'm going to go with range. I think that's probably going to be the best thing to have because it is an auto rifle and I want it to reach all my allies as far as possible. So I'm going to get that selected. And this is all the different configurations you can go with. Depending on what you want to do with it, you can scroll over these and it'll tell you what everything will do for you is right here. If you want to, maximize your range, I'd probably go with probably chambered compensator or hammer forged. Not hammer forged. I've already got extended barrel on. Probably go with.
I would recommend maximizing stability on these weapons.
All right, then we'll go arrowhead then. We'll go arrowhead.
Because if you look at Lightjot.gg, handling and range are about the same popularity, but handling is a little bit more popular than range.
The adamantite has a lot less recoil direction. If you notice, it's straight 100 on the or 95. It's pretty close to up, and I think 85 is the base on it. But if we go with arrowhead brake, which let's face it, I go with arrowhead brake on a lot of stuff. And then here you
that's why on the adamantite they actually do recommend range versus stability.
Yeah.
Because these two weapons aren't exactly the same. They're a little bit.
There's some differences, that's for sure. But I would probably go accurized rounds to get that range back. But you can go with steady rounds if you want to increase your stability. Whatever you decide to do here, you want rewind, reload speed, whatever. You want to go with the mag perks here. You can go with bigger mags, bigger size magazines, but I'm going to go with accurized rounds just because I'm getting a stability bump. Now I can get the bump in range as well. Now here's where it gets really fun. They have this little perk called Psychic, or is it Psychic? Yeah, Psychic. Psychic? Or is it Physic? Physic, Psychic. Rapidly healing allies grants you and allies restoration for an improved duration. If you notice, this is a solar auto rifle. So this is a no-brainer for me for survivability, is I want to be able to give restoration. And if you've used any kind of solar subclass, restoration's the bomb. It makes you very, very resistant to damage. So I'm going to pick that as my enhanced, and I can get it in a regular form right here, but enhanced gives it just a little extra stuff. Think of it like as an adept weapon. Now my final perk here, I'm probably going to go, I could go with Circle of Life, like on my adamantite. I can go with enhanced incandescent. I have several different options here. And now here's what I want to reiterate. Depending on how I play the game, I can make this rifle any way I want. If I want to be a healer, then I'm going to pick Circle of Life. If I want to be someone who's doing damage and healing my enemies, I'm going to go with Enhanced Incandescent. So this is what I have rolled out here. And then all I do is just build it. You can see what it costs. 46,000 Glimmer, 17 enhancement cores, 2 Ascended Alloys, and 4 enhancement prisms. Here's the one thing I want to mention too for people who have not crafted many weapons. Once I craft this weapon, there's no refunds. You can't swap out stuff and say, oh, I decided to go with this or that. Once this is final, it's final. If you want to come back and reshape the weapon, then you're going to have to pay for those perks again. And it's not a whole lot if you're swapping out perks, but there it is. Now we have a fully crafted restoration that I think is better than the adamantite because of this perk right here, granting restoration. Remember, adamantite is I believe it's it's not kinetic. I think it's pretty sure
it's strand.
It's a strand weapon. Okay. So strand.
Yep.
Now, granted, you can tie that in with some of your strand perks.
Yes, strand. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You can tie that in with some of your strand perks, but I now, because of crafting, I have the best adamantite I can ever get. Plus it gives me restoration. So now you're probably asking, well, who cares? The reason I mention this is because I'm a big believer in crafting weapons. Some people have said that crafting weapons has ruined this game. I'm very much on the opposite end of the spectrum. If anything, if you get those 5 bordered bars to be able to craft, you get the weapon frames to be able to craft your weapon. You still have to rank it up. You still have to do all that good stuff to it. But the main thing I want to mention here is the difference between an RNG weapon. These are very, very similar weapons. They're both the same frame, but they're very different ways you can use these two weapons. One you can craft, and one you have to wait for RNG drops. And I love that you can enhance the RNG drops right now, but this is yet another argument that I want to throw out there of why we need to bring and craft everything in the game. Because think about everything that's in your vault right now. Think of all the duplicate weapons. I mean, I'm going to show you my vault here. Look how many of these I got. Look how many summoners I got. Look how many tenacious masteries I got. I mean, look how many duplicate weapons I have here. I have a ton of these Belisarius Ds. I've got a bunch of those. I've even got 2 of these scout rifles here. And of course, all my exotics take up the spot as well. But I got this from, this is a Braytech werewolf. It became so good that I have actually 3 different rolls of these as well, but they're not craftable. But imagine this. If everything in here was craftable, think of all the space we would save. Think of all the space we could instead of me having 689 spots out of 700 already taken, just in weapons alone, if I was able to craft everything, I would have so much room in my vault all the time. Because guess what? If say another season comes by and Headseeker's no longer any good in Crucible, they've nerfed it to the ground. And just say that another perk for pulse rifles came out that's really doing well, and they've actually buffed. If it's crafted, I can take it right back to that table, which I just showed you, and craft it the way I want. Granted, I got to pay for it, but I mean, nothing's for free in life. But this is the reason why I really wanted to push this example here, because I was thinking about these 2 different rifles. One is randomly dropped and one is craftable, and how different these rifles can be. Now, granted, I got very, very lucky getting these 2 that I showed you, but I bet there's a ton of people out there that have not gotten this kind of luck. And the one thing they have done, Kingsley, and you've mentioned this, is in Heresy, they are showering everyone with loot. So your chances of getting a good roll of these weapons is much higher. But I just want to mention that's just a prime example right there of why crafting, to me, is so much more superior than RNG drops. Now, I know not everybody's going to agree with me, but I just...
Okay, yeah, because already people in the chat aren't, and I'm not either, because this is not a fair comparison at all.
Really?
These are totally different perks on the weapons. Totally different. In fact, Tajo also mentions no one likes Adamante. It just doesn't have as good a perks as No Hesitation. So if No Hesitation, crafted or not, it's a better weapon anyways. It has nothing to do with the crafting versus the RNG. Sorry.
Well, the reason I use these two as an example, because they're the only two, what they call, recovery frames or support frames.
I know, but
it's the only two weapons in the game
that matter. And because Adamantine doesn't have as good a perks for that and some other things, then people do prefer no hesitation. And it's not because crafting, it's just because it has better perks.
I didn't bring up my intention was not with maximum DPS of these two weapons. I really was not trying to do that. No, I was just trying to show the variability of in different ways I can equip the weapon for the style of game I play. That's the only reason I came up with that example tonight. So I might have been a little bit biased
too. Yeah. But not because it's crafted, because it's a better weapon. The Adamantine, it has better perks. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And Katsuo Fujita in chat says, if you dismantle a level 3 enhanced, you get nothing back. So let's say you got an enhanced, I'm not going to beat this horse too much longer, guys. Bear with me. But let's just say, I got a ton of enhanced weapons here. Okay. This one right here, the Redrix S-Stock. That's a bad example because I don't have it enhanced right here. It's the same one. I just have it enhanced. Let's say Sword Logic and Lone Wolf are killer right now. Then I have these enhanced, which I don't know if you have to level these up just like you do a crafted weapon, and it's not cheap. But if I dismantle this weapon because it's no longer any good, they've nerfed these two perks and they're not what they used to be. That weapon's gone and it's in the ether. It's gone and you don't get anything back for all that money you put into it. People always asking me, Gator, why on earth do you have so few enhancement cores? I have, 270 for all the time I've put in this game. That's all I have is 270 enhancement cores. You know why? It's because every time I get a weapon with some good rolls, I want to at least enhance the first level, because when I get kills with that weapon, I'm actually getting, it's actually leveling the weapon up. Like, remember Destiny 1, you had to level the weapons up to get it to be stronger. It's kind of the same premise here. So that's the reason why I never have enough enhancement cores. And I know that they're giving us more now with dismantling
and I noticed
stuff.
You don't run seasonal activities enough to get enough back.
It could be too, but hey, everybody plays
drop like candy, like rain in the seasonal activities.
And and there's a ghost mod you can put on that'll give you more when you're playing Crucible too. So I play a lot more Crucible than I do PvE in this game, but I just want to throw that out there. But and that's a good point, Katsuo, because it's the only thing is respecting the player's time. If they're going to put time in to farm and just grind out these weapons, and then all of a sudden they have to make a change, you're not getting anything back for that. I'm just saying. Anyway, that was my pulpit that I wanted to hop on tonight, because when I saw those two weapons, I said, oh, and there was an article that came up too and said that, hey, you really need to build the no hesitation. Go get it crafted, because this is what you can do with it. Arguably it has better recoil direction. It has a lot of stuff that's better, but it's a totally
perks. Way better perks. Yeah. Than Adamant. That's why they're not the same comparison. I'm sorry.
Well, I really wasn't trying to compare apples to apples there. I was trying to compare two rifles that they're the only weapon frame that we have in this game, and how different these two weapons are based on not only the perks, because there's some really good perks. Circle of Life and Reciprocity is really good on the Adamantite for me. That's going to be a strong weapon to have there, because I'll get more power when I heal my allies as well. But just the fact that I have Incandescent and other options on the other one, because it's a different energy, makes it much better for me. But that wasn't my intent. I was trying to explain to you, for those of you who don't like crafting, I was just trying to throw you a bone out there of why this is just an example of how you have much more flexibility with a crafted weapon versus one that just drops out of the blue. All right, I'm going to shut up now. Thanks for indulging me, Kingsley. I know, shaking your head. I know, it's okay. It's all right. You can take Hazel's place and say, it's not going to happen, man.
Next week, come up with the two same weapons.
There you go. There's my homework. No, thanks for indulging me, man. Cause I had that last minute. That's the reason why I was, a little discombobulated at the beginning of the stream, but I just wanted to throw it out there. Just one example of many. So, anyway, I think we got some questions from our community coming up here. So let's get on with that. We'll be right back. Hey Guardians, would you like to send a question for the show to us? There are 4 ways to do it. First, you can join our Discord server at discord.gg/Guardian Downcast. There's also a join link in our show notes down below. We have Guardians from all walks of life and all over the world, from new lights to day one players to hardcore gamers. There's also a channel labeled Podcast Questions where you can type in your question for the show. So come hang out with us. You can also email us with your question at guardiandowncast@gmail.com, or we also occasionally post about our upcoming show and guest, and you can respond there with your question at Guardian_D_cast is our X handle. Finally, you can send us a voicemail with your question at guardiandowncast.com, and we might play it on the podcast. Think of it as talking with us right on the show. Thanks for listening, and later, Guardian. It is that time of our show, boys and girls, where we answer questions from you guys. We have our first question here in our Discord from Tajo Trade. He says, do you like the new, and he has it in parentheses here, maybe it came out last episode, I don't know, I don't really play, perk Demoralize? Would you prefer it over destabilizing rounds in general? That's a good question because I haven't used a lot of Demoralize yet. Have you had a chance to use that, Kingsley?
I don't know. Remind me what it even is. We should look that up.
Demoralize it. What it does, I think it's like blinding. It like confuses the enemy, and you take less damage from the enemy. And I think they're less accurate as too. I believe so. Was that the perk? Are you looking it up?
And then what was the other one he mentioned?
What he's saying is it as effective as destabilizing rounds? Because we know destabilizing rounds works really good at buffing nerfing target or debuffing targets. So.
I should have done my homework. Sorry, I'll do that next time.
That's all right. We talk about the exhaust, but I noticed that on some of my weapons had that perk. So,
demoralize precision final blows cause nearby targets to become weakened. And then what is the other one?
Destabilizing rounds.
And then can we describe that again?
Destabilizing rounds also, if you throw volatile rounds out, which with certain weapons you can do that, but destabilizing rounds does the same thing. It weakens. I just am curious which one weakens more. You know what? Does it weaken targets nearby or just the target you shot? No, it weakens targets nearby as well. So you're saying Demoralize just weakens the target you're hitting with precision hits? No, it says nearby targets. So it sounds like it's a lot. Sounds like it's a lot the same. You know what? We'll test it. Tajo, and we'll let you know. We'll let you know next week or in a couple weeks when we get back from our roundtable episode. We got another question here from Darth Noodle. I'm making a return to Destiny, and I did what any normal person would do, and I deleted my entire vault and reset back to white armor. What weapons and armor should I be going for first with all the new buffs and nerfs since I played last? I'm a hunter main, but not exclusive. That's another good question. And why would you dismantle all your stuff? I mean, I know streamers do it, but damn, that's a lot of work. What should he be going for first, Kingsley? He's got white armor and weapons. Where would you send him first to start? I know, just wide open, right? You don't worry about it. You just play, because unless you're doing end game high end content right away, which you can't if you've deleted everything, you just start getting whatever. I mean, 1900, right? I'm being too practical here, but just go for the type of weapon types that you prefer. So once you start getting some good pulses, if you like that, or scouts or hand cannons or whatever. I mean, I get it why sometimes people would, it's kind of like starting over. You've done this before with alt accounts. Like you're starting from scratch, and he just did it, deleting everything or whatever versus basically an alt account. Same thing. So since you've played at least at some point before, maybe you kind of know what you want to go for or things you've had before. I would say, unless I'm understanding the meaning of the question, but think about the best exotics or fun weapons you had before and go for those again. Because if you just wanted us to tell you something new, well, that had nothing to do with you deleting stuff anyways. So I guess I'm missing the basis of the question. I'm sorry, man. You can write us back. No, I took it the wrong way. Yeah. I've done this several times. And I usually have a pattern of stuff I usually go to. When I'm first starting out an alt account, I'll first run the campaign. because if you run the Final Shape campaign, which let's face it, they're going to light match you. They're not going to make it where it's too difficult. With whatever starting light you have, first thing I would do is run the Final Shape campaign. If you haven't done it already, I mean, if you've done it already, then it'll be easy for you. But, I would play it on legend mode if you can. I don't remember what the light level is for legend. It's been a while, but if you can run it on legend, I mean, if you have enough experience playing, you run on legend, you get double chest, drops at each segment of the storyline of the campaign mission. So that's probably where I would start and just start getting armor, cause they'll throw everything your way. They'll give you armor, they'll give you weapons, and it'll be new weapons you haven't seen before either. So that's where I would start, is to just run through the Final Shape campaign. It sounds like you haven't played in a while. Maybe you haven't run it, and man, you're missing out if you haven't run the Final Shape campaign. It is so much fun. Best campaign, second to Forsaken. Very, very good campaign. Very linear too, and they don't even want you to leave. They want you to, if anything, stay in the Pale Heart and play that campaign. Don't go play Crucible or whatever. They want you to stay and keep playing the missions. And then another thing I would say, speaking of Crucible, the new, the longsword pulse rifle Void. I don't know what kind of weapons you like, Darth Noodle, but man almighty, this rifle has got me excited. You have to play comp for the battle rifle that they have out now, but there is the Joxer's longsword. I have one with destabilizing rounds and repulsor brace, arrowhead break, high caliber rounds. I mean, this is my first drop in Crucible was this weapon, and it is a god roll for PvE. So you don't always have to play PvE stuff to get some really good weapons. So play a ton of Crucible, jump into Iron Banner. Joxer's longsword drops at the end of a game matches, and you can, as you get Ingrams from playing Crucible, and it's double this week, by the way, go and turn those in. It only costs 1 Ingram, no glimmer or anything, and you can farm that Joxer's longsword. That's one thing I would definitely jump on really quick. And as you get exotic Ingrams, I would, what you can't pull out of collections that maybe you've been out a while, you can go to the Monument of Lost Light. All the past exotic, a lot of the past exotic weapons in there you can buy. They're not cheap. And you do have to have exotic ciphers for some of them, and spoils for some of them if they come from a raid. But that's a place you can start as well to start building up your exotic weapons. And now if you want exotic armor, you take those same exotic Ingrams to the Cryptarch, and you can actually farm those exotic rolls. Now, if you have they've made it real easy to get exotic armor now. If you have the ciphers, which you can get, you can go to what's the dude every week it comes, Zur. You can get a mission where you can earn exotic, exotic ciphers. You can do it that way. They're actually in your season pass bar, I believe at 50 or 60, I think. You can get them there. So there's all kinds of ways to get some of your some of the new armor, exotic armor, and if you've missed out on some of the exotic weapons from past seasons and even Final Shape, you can buy them from Monument of Lost Light, but they're not cheap. So you might have to do some glimmer farming. So it was a good question, actually. One I've done a lot because I've done so many alt accounts. I like leveling up stuff and building up my character. We have one non-Destiny question here, and it is again from Tajo Trade. What is one of your favorite actors, and what is your least favorite movie of theirs that you would choose to watch if forced to?
To answer quickly here, I'll just go with Harrison Ford. Not necessarily my favorite, but one of my favorite. And then, yeah, exactly. Or even Kingdom of the Crystal Skull or something.
Yeah, those are both bad. Yeah. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for putting your questions in this week. If you do have any questions for us in the future, make sure to hit our podcast questions channel in our Discord. We have non-Destiny and Destiny questions. If you want to list some there, we try to answer those every week if we can. We used to be really backed up in the past, but it's gotten much better now. So.
Hey, thanks for listening to Guardian Downcast. There are several ways you can contact us. First, you can find us on X at Guardian Downcast. Or you can find us on our Instagram at Guardian Downcast and see what pics and reels ToddtheGatr and his podcast guests want to share with you guys. We have a brand new website too. Just visit guardiandowncast.com, where you can find all of our contact info, leave us a voicemail, give our show a rating or review, search for any past episodes, or even give back to our community. Also, don't forget to sign up for future updates to the show, where we'll also have random drawings throughout the year, and you may win a gift card or even some GDC merch. And finally, you can send us an email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. Our community thrives on interaction, so get involved and check us out.
So we hoped you enjoyed this week's show. We have certainly been pleasantly surprised with all the new content in Heresy and can't wait to jump into more of it. Kingsleymac and I shared yet another awesome Warlock build using the new Arc Aspect Ionic Sentry. And this build has many variations, so as always, experiment with them and see what fits your playstyle best. I also gave another argument for why we need to keep weapon crafting in the game Destiny 2, using the 2 support frame auto rifles in the game as just an example. We've really been enjoying Heresy so far, and my hope is that you jump into more of it, and especially the revamped Trials of Osiris, and see how easy it is to get really great loot for little time investment, especially if you compare it to other activities in the game. And see for yourself. Remember, you can choose the regular Trials passes if you just want to get your feet wet and are not worried about going to the lighthouse. You'll get rewarded in nearly every match. Of course, Iron Banner continues to be fun as well, and I was quite surprised that Kingsleymac actually jumped in and played it. That goes to show you that if Bungie provides good loot, players will be incentivized to play new activities they don't normally engage in with their daily routines. I hope you got some good info from this week's episode, and if anything, it will incentivize you to try to play the game differently. Make sure to give me some feedback on what else you might want me to talk about, and that may help our more casual Guardians out there, or even those new lights, enjoy their time in the Destinyverse. So how are you enjoying the new Heresy content so far? Let us know. You can reach us on email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. You can talk to us in our Discord at discord.gg/guardiandowncast, or send us a voicemail at guardiandowncast.com. Next week, we'll be back with our monthly roundtable episode where we will bring you topics that aren't necessarily Destiny related to the table. We hope to see you there. Remember, we go live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, on my YouTube channel and on our Discord live stage. The event will be posted every week at the top of the server, so stop by and say hi to us. Well, that's a wrap. Another episode in our collection. For our new listeners out there, we have 291 other episodes with interviews from gamers all over our community. So take a look at those, especially if you're just finding out about our podcast. And if you like what you hear, the only way we grow is if you tell someone else about us. All you have to do is tell them to go to guardiandowncast.com. A special thanks to my co-host, Kingsleymac. You can find him in our Discord. I also have his links in the show notes as well, if you'd like to follow him. You can contact me at ToddtheGatr all across the socials and gaming platforms. You can also reach out to me on email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. Remember, as you're playing Final Shape, Heresy, take breaks, get outside, and touch grass. NS Ripsaw. Hey, remember everyone, we're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. And be good to your fellow Guardians in the Destinyverse.
The weight of the world was on your shoulders, and still you triumphed. Marvelous.
Thank you all so very much for listening. And later, Guardian.
Really just kind of depends.
If I'm going to come up with a I'm going to because the seasonal artifact has so many good Void stuff as well this season. I'm coming up with a really nasty Void Warlock build soon too. And then I promise I'll come up with some Hunter and some Titan ones as well that I'll illustrate on the show live. So it'll be really cool. Hey, thanks, man. I know you got a bolt.
Sorry, I got a jet.
It's all right, man. Appreciate you hanging around.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah.
Have fun.
And we'll catch you guys another time. See you.
Later, guys. Thanks, everybody in the Discord. Love you guys. Yeah, be sure to throw questions like Tajo did in the questions channel in our Discord if you have any questions for us, and we'll be sure to answer them live on the show and go from there. Thanks, guys. Later on. Button no press?
You should be able to kick me. You should be able to kick me.
Gator doesn't know technology.
There we go.